Well, welcome to the Herb of the Week with me, Stephanie Georgiev, your host, as well as the instructor for the Botanical Medicine Study course. If you would like to be the first on your blog to be the most knowledgeable about all things botanical medicine, send me an email. The link is in the program notes, and I will send you a link to download the free introductory lesson and the handouts. At the time of the posting of this video, we are nearing mid-March, or the Ides of March. And for those of you paying attention in English Lit class during Shakespeare obligatory reading of Julius Caesar, as well as world history class, the middle of March did not go well for old Jules. But for many of us, mid-March is a time when we are really quite done with the concept of winter, and spring is just a few days away on the calendar at least. In North America, specifically in the Centers for Irish Immigrant Populations, March 17th, or St. Patrick's Day, has a special meaning for all things green. The whole St. Patrick's story is out of the purview for this video and focus of the channel, but suffice to say, the four-leaf clover thing is fun. So in the spirit of the fun botanical part of St. Patrick's Day, for this week's Herb of the Week, we will focus on clover, specifically red clover, or as it is known to the botanists as Trifolium pratense, because of its medicinal value. The shamrock is a type of clover, but there is a great difference between a shamrock and clover. For starters, shamrocks always have 3 leaves, while clovers have a 4th leaf. Shamrocks are usually green, but you can find purple, green, or white clover. Finally, shamrocks grow in clumps, while 4-leaf clovers are rare and grow one at a time. There is still not a consensus over the precise botanical species of clover that is a true shamrock. John Gerard, in his Herbal of 1597, which was quite the bestseller during its time, defined the shamrock as Trifolium pratense, or Trifolium pratense flora albo, meaning red or white clover. He described the plant in English as 3-leaf grass, or meadow trefoil, which is also called Irish shamrocks. The Irish botanist Caleb Threlkeld, apologies for my California accent in pronunciation of this very important person, he wrote in 1726 in his work entitled Synopsis Strictum Hibernicanum, which means a treatise on native Irish plants. He followed Gerard in identifying the shamrock as Trifolium pratense and calling it white-field clover. However, other 3-leaf plants, such as Medaco lupulinea, Trifolium pratense, and Oxalis astacella, are also called shamrocks. The shamrock was traditionally used for its medicinal properties. Those cute potted plants you get in grocery stores around St. Patrick's Day are of a South American species of wood sorrel called Oxalis regnigeli. So there you go. Trifolium pratense, or the red clover, is an herbaceous species of flowering plant. And the reason they call it red clover, even though the flowers are definitely pink, is apparently at a distance, a big field of red clover actually looks red instead of pink. So that's why they call it red clover. So it's an herbaceous species of flowering plant in the bean family of Fabaceae, which is native to Europe, Western Asia, and Northwest Africa. But this plant has been naturalized and planted in many other regions. Red clover is a short-lived perennial plant, and it's variable in size and can grow from 20 to 80 centimeters or 8 to 31 inches tall. It has a deep taproot, which makes it tolerant to drought and gives it a good soil structuring effect. And this taproot is one of the reasons it makes such a great ground cover, and that it helps to bring nitrogen to the soil naturally, which is true with all beans. So it's a really good cover crop. If you have lots of gardening space and you want to rotate things, this is a good one to plant on the fallow ground during the year you're not planting, let's say, tomatoes or something like that. The leaves are alternate in 3 leaflets, and the flowers are dark pink with a paler base, and they're about 1/2 inch long. And they produce a dense inflorescence, and inflorescence is the neat Latin botanical term for flowering, and are mostly visited by bumblebees, so good pollinator plants specifically for bees. Now, as I said before, red clover is a wonderful plant to put on areas of your garden you're not quite sure what to do with or you're rotating, especially if you have poor soil quality. Red clover makes an excellent ground cover that adds nitrogen to the soil while loosening it. And at the end of its growing season, red clover can be turned over and the soil and used as green manure to improve the soil's nutrients. I've put a link in the program notes as to how to care for red clover in your garden. And if you get the chance, visit the Epic Gardening channel or website for a wonderful information on all things gardening. It's really informative. The Latin binomial for red clover is Trifolium potens and has been a staple in European botanical medicine for centuries. And the flower is the main ingredient used medicinally. The traditional qualities of red clover are as an alterative, an expectorant, and an antispasmodic. Alterative is a wonderful word in herbal medicine, and it is a quality for an herbal action in that it means to nourish and help restore proper functioning in the body. There's no equivalent term or action in synthetic pharmaceuticals. So this is an instance where nature has a capacity that is beyond synthetic drugs. I've used this herb in cough and chest cold remedies, and clover is often a part of a spring tonic remedy. With the advent of modern chemical analysis and the endless search for breast cancer therapies, red clover has had somewhat of a cultural renaissance in terms of use as a hormone normalizer. There for a while, plant isoflavones were all the rage in nutritional therapies for cancer and menopausal symptom relief. So the isoflavones in red clover became a star next to soy. Now, the isoflavones in red clover can be useful in blocking excess estrogen on estrogen receptors in the system. And blocking estrogen receptors is desired if excess estrogen is the reason for some types of breast cancer. Obviously, you need to get an accurate diagnosis of what type of cancer you have before using this plant in therapy. And some oncologists feel that isoflavones can exacerbate some forms of cancer. So they will caution against using things like soy isoflavones and red clover isoflavones, or eating soy or red clover in their clients with various forms of cancer. So here's to accurate diagnosis, okay? And it really is only obtainable by an oncologist. So one of the best ways to take red clover is in tea. And if you're wanting an effect with hormonal issues, it's best to take it in either tincture or pill form. You'll get a stronger dose that way. Now, the one caution with red clover is that it can potentiate certain types of anticoagulant drugs, such as blood thinners. So make sure you're good to go if you want to take red clover for hormonal issues or cancer, or if you have a heart condition and are on blood thinners. But for temporary spring tonic, say for a couple weeks, or help with a chest cold, this is a rather safe herb to take. However you wish to use red clover, as an alternative ground cover to grass, as a cover crop for your garden to help nourish the soil, or to take it internally as a spring tonic, I hope you come to appreciate this wonderful plant for all the gifts that it has. So this is Stephanie Georgia saying thanks so much for spending your time with me. And until next time, be well.